I really like to walk around there. Hi, I'm Becky Berger, and I'm glad to be here tonight, and I'm thrilled so many of you have decided to come out in this chilly weather to hear all of us tonight. This is an extremely important race because this is an extremely important office, and it needs to be taken very seriously, not only by us running, but by you who are putting someone in that office. This particular agency brings in over half of all the income to the state of Texas every year. If that's not the most important job in Texas, tell me what is. Because we have got the best situation we could possibly have with the oil and gas industry funding almost everything we want to do. And the ag people are coming up right behind us and bringing the rest of it. So it's really a nice state to live in because we get things that other people don't get. I am a petroleum geologist. I graduated from the University of Oklahoma, and I went to summer school at Colorado School of Mines. I have a minor in engineering and a minor in economics. And my dad put me out in the oil field when I was in college to make sure I really wanted to do this. So I was a roustabout in 1977 and went back and finished my degree, worked for the Department of Energy, found out that we don't need a Department of Energy. We've only had it since Nixon was in office, and truthfully, it's a redundancy. We do an excellent job here, and the reason Washington doesn't need to be looking down our shoulder is every rule that they got from Texas, because the Texas Railroad Commission has set the rulemaking not only for our state and every other state in the United States, but other countries. OPEC based all of their rules on the Railroad Commission. So we can't be doing that bad a job, which we need to convince the legislature of that. Because what we're looking at is going under sunset in the 82nd legislature. We came in, they put us back under for 2 years. We're only supposed to go in every 10 years. This time in the 83rd, they did it again for 4 years. People, when we're not regulating correctly, it gives an open door to the federal government to come in and take that away from us. And I'll be danged if they're going to do that on my watch, because we can't afford the way they run that city on the hill that's not very well lit. I don't want them running our state and our energy industry that way. So we need to do a better job of getting through to the legislature, doing the things that we're asked to do, and making sure that it runs as perfectly as possible. And what you have with me is somebody who went from roustabout to field chemist to well site geologist to developmental geologist, and then at that time, I went to work in the mining industry, and I worked 16 years in Mexico mining precious metals and industrial minerals. And if you didn't know, the Railroad Commission covers iron ore, coal, uranium, and sulfur right here in Texas. Nobody in this race has this kind of credentials. The other thing you're getting with me is I am a rancher and a property owner. I don't want them throwing a pipeline across my property, and I think there's a better way to do it than taking your rights away with eminent domain. I am convinced that if the satellite towers can take an easement on your property and pay you either every month or every year, then that's what the pipeline should be doing. And I don't think it's asking too much, because it's actually good for them. Think about this. If somebody throws something across your property without your permission, and you have to go in and sue them to get paid one time, every time you look at that pipeline and that piece of property that you cannot build on and you cannot plow, you're going to say, I hate those people. And especially if you're the surface owner and not a mineral owner, and that pipeline isn't benefiting you. So, from a public relations standpoint, let's think about this. Wouldn't it be better to be getting a check once a year and going, yeah, I don't like it out there, but hey, it's not so bad. Because that's the way we should do things. Things should be a win-win. I am very big on win-win. And I think that our agencies should work together better. You know, the These operators and producers that produce all this wonderful hydrocarbons that provides almost everything in this room, and if it didn't make it, it was brought here with it. So think about that next time somebody says how bad the oil and gas industry is. But what we need to do is when they have to fill out forms for the Railroad Commission, they shouldn't have to fill out the same information on a different form in a different format for the comptroller's office. We need to be having a little bit of interagency communication. Because the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing and making everybody do something twice is inefficient, not only for the businesses, but for the government. And we don't need more paper in Austin. I would really like to reinstate the in-house training for inspectors. To be an inspector, you have to have a degree. We're having trouble keeping them because they can come to work for 15 months and leave and go into the industry and make twice as much money. There's some things that need to be done. I would like to be that person who, because I've been at every level of this industry, to be the one who helps regulate it. Because we are not legislators, we are regulators at the Railroad Commission. And I want that to be something that is proven over and over that we do it the best of any agency in Texas and of any state in the union. Please think about that when you go to vote this time. I would really appreciate your support. I really appreciate you having us here. And I have really nice opponents. We all get along very well, so don't look for this race to be the one people fight, because we're not going to do that. But thank you very much. My name is Becky Berger, and my website is beckybergerfortexas.org.net or .com. You should be able to find it. Thank you.
Nice. All right, my name is Malachi Boyuls, and it's great to be here with you guys tonight. I'm actually from Dallas, and running a statewide campaign, you find yourselves all over the state, and so to be able to do it in your backyard is a special treat. So thank you so much for doing this and for having us. Part of the reason why you're here isn't because you think this race is just the most amazing race, and you're also excited about our candidacy, right? You're here because you care about the future of our state. Texas is the greatest state and the greatest country in the world. I think we can all agree with that. You're here because you know that we have a duty and an obligation to ensure that the Texas of tomorrow is actually better than the Texas of today, for our kids and for our grandkids and for the next generation. And that's why I'm running for Railroad Commissioner. My son is actually very disappointed that the Railroad Commission has nothing to do with trains and railroads, but in fact regulates the oil and gas industry and coal and uranium mining. But it's as Becky said, it's a very important position in the state. The oil and gas industry is exceedingly important to our economy, and the agency is very important to that industry. Texas Energy is going to be a huge part of our future. Texas is synonymous with energy in a lot of ways. We've got tremendous resources. We're the #1 oil producer in the United States, the #1 gas producer in the United States, and a little known fact, we're actually the #5 coal producer in the United States. So Texas energy is very important. But I would submit that Texas's greatest energy asset is actually its people. It's that energy that's allowed us to thrive while the rest of the country lags. And it's that energy that allows us to turn potential into results. The great thing about energy is potential. That's what energy is, it's potential and promise. And in Texas, that potential and that promise is pretty significant. I should know I'm a part of it. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is a very small town. And met my high school sweetheart there, and we got married. And I grew up with a mom and 2 sisters, and my mom actually taught us the values that underlie that Texas promise. That if you work hard, if you have a strong faith, and if you have integrity, you're going to have opportunity. And it's up to you to capitalize on that. So from there, I went to Merritt Baylor undergrad as a religion major. First person in my family to go to college, and was planning on going into ministry, and I hope there's no lawyers in the room. Decided to go the opposite direction, went to law school. There must be some lawyers. Look, even for lawyers, they think that, I went to NYU Law School, they even think that NYU Law School is the opposite of ministry. But when I was there, I had the great opportunity to work with now Justice Alito, one of the smartest, most conservative men I've met. And it was really from him I learned and was able to really refine my conservative principles and what it means to do things within a constitution, what private property rights mean, and the value of them, what the value of life, the value of gun ownership. Those are the things that I learned when I was with him and that I've carried on and what I've done. Graduated from NYU, came back to Texas as quickly as possible, partly because my wife made me, but I really wanted to get back here. And have 2 young kids. And I tell you that because I think it's important that you know the person who's running for office. You know, a lot of these issues that we're going to talk about, they may change. In 4 years, they're going to be different than they are today. But what should remain consistent is the person and the values that drive that person. We've got to have leaders who are going to stand on principle, even when it means you might lose, and we're going to put Texas and Texans first. So I tell you that because that's one of the main reasons why I'm running for this. Second reason I'm running is because of the importance of the agency to a very important industry. The next railroad commissioner is going to have to play a large role in ensuring that Texas Energy continues to drive an even stronger economy. You know, right now the industry is responsible for hundreds of thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in capital investment in our state. Last year alone, the industry was responsible for $12.1 billion in state and local revenue. We hear all this talk about the rainy day fund and how we're going to use that for water or roads. Well, we wouldn't have that discussion without the oil and gas industry. The rainy day fund is made up almost entirely of oil and gas service and taxes. So we've got to have somebody on the Railroad Commission who understands how to create jobs, how to grow an economy, and the importance of sustained economic success. They've also got to understand that government doesn't create those jobs. Government doesn't grow an economy. The oil and gas industry does. I have a small oil and gas business where we work from, we drill wells, we have royalty and mineral interest. We've worked all across the spectrum of the industry. We've worked all across the country in the industry, and we've seen the regulatory environments in Pennsylvania, New York, New Mexico, North Dakota, and Texas. And we actually, Becky's right, we do a great job here. But we can't screw that up. Right, we're on this trajectory to grow by leaps and bounds, but government can serve as a hurdle there. We've got to have somebody who understands the impact of regulation on business. Being a small business owner who has actually created jobs and invested in the state, I understand that. Governor Perry also appointed me several years ago to head a board where we do a lot of what we're going to be doing on the Railroad Commission, regulating the industry in such a way that we continue to grow jobs, continue to invest in the economy. So I've got that experience. Second, we've got to stand up to this federal government and the EPA. You know, this isn't a race against Barack Obama. This isn't a federal race, but the EPA is trying to get their hands on Texas energy. They're trying to stop methane emissions in North Texas, go to East Texas, and complaining about the overpressurization of the field. They're using a chicken in West Texas that people hunt in Kansas to stop production. That's unacceptable. You know, they came down here a couple weeks ago and said they're on a listening tour, right? The EPA came up here, actually, and was on a listening tour. I said, look, come listen to Texans and then get back to Washington. We got this. We know how to regulate Texas energy. My previous life, I was a regulatory attorney, and my job actually was to fight the federal government and the EPA. I stood toe-to-toe against the EPA, and I won. A lot of people in this race are going to say they're going to fight the federal government, and I believe they are very sincere in that. I'm the only one who's actually done it. And I will always fight for Texas. And finally, Texas is going to lead the United States to energy independence. We're the #1 oil and gas producer in the world. Texas is the #1 oil and gas producer in the United States. If we get to energy independence, which we can within the next decade, it's going to be because of Texas. But we've got to have somebody on the Railroad Commission who understands what it takes, who's willing and able to stand up to the federal government, and who understands the value of Texas energy to the state of Texas. Now, I've got 30 seconds. The nice gentleman is not yelling at me, so thank you. My name, Malachi, it's a big name. It means messenger. It's the last book in the Old Testament. I want to be a messenger for you. I want to be a messenger for our conservative values. I want to be a messenger for energy independence and a stronger economy. I want to be a messenger for the future of Texas. So please visit my website, malachifortexas.com, MALACHI, fortexas.com. I need your vote, I need your support, and I really, truly do need your prayers. So thank you so much. Malachi Boyuls for Railroad Commissioner.
Okay, turn the camera off. My qualifications for the job are that I'm the oldest and ugliest in the race, okay? That's about it. You know, and I want to say I appreciate the gentleman who sang the national anthem, but he's the bravest man I have met in a long time. I mean, it's not that he holds up the time cards for us politicians. I mean, that's no big deal. But he held it up to the colonel. Does he not realize that there might be a helicopter above his car when he leaves here, and his body won't be found for a couple of years? You know? My name is Wayne Christian. I'm the old guy in the race. I'm the guy that for a decade and a half served in the Texas House. I was the first Republican since Reconstruction to be elected from Deep East Texas. I've served on Energy Committee and Regulated Industry for about a third of my time in the Texas House. I'm the guy that's been there. I've been honored to receive 100% ranking by the Texas Eagle Forum. I've been honored to be endorsed in this campaign, not only by Texas Right to Life, but also for Dr. Jim Graham and Joe Graham, the founders of the organization individually. I'm honored to have, I've been there, done that. I guess that's the deal. And I'm concerned about the future. I'm concerned because Wendy, the little lady who's running for governor of the state's in Washington today, collecting money to come home and fundraisers for the state of Texas. Folks, I wouldn't believe it. Those of you that have a few gray hair like me and black hair like me maybe, can remember when Willie Wayne Justice came to Texas and decided he didn't like our prison system, and they took over our prison system for about a decade and almost bankrupted us. Let me tell you something, folks. Right now, Barack Obama, the president of these United States, is for clean, green energy. That's everything except oil, gas, and coal. And we just understand, right now, 1,400 people a week move to the state of Texas for jobs. We, of the 900 plus thousand, almost 1 million jobs created in the United States last year in oil and gas, over 400,000 in the state of Texas. We don't have a state income tax. We have had tort reform, lawsuit reform. We were able to pass pro-life legislation that follows the belief of we conservatives and people that believe in the right to life. Why? Because we were able to do this to the federal government and say, we in Texas don't need your little penny here and penny there. But folks, they're trying to cut off pipelines, stop fracking. They're trying to stop what we do in Texas. And understand, we all know there's this blue movement from Washington with the Soros dollar coming in to stop us Republicans. Because if they take Texas, in our lifetime there'll not be another president that's a Republican. And with that, we don't see coming that 80% of the people that go to vote have no clue what the Railroad Commission does. Now, I want you to know this, folks. There is an intent in President Barack Obama. Do you know who announced as another candidate just a week ago in the state of Texas for the Railroad Commission? A Democrat who is the staff member of the Congressman Sheila down in Houston, Texas, who worked for Al Gore in Washington, D.C. Now, do you think there's not some intent of the dollars being brought to Texas to stop our control of our oil and gas? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been there a long time. I've been declared and honored to be named as Legislator of the Year for the American Legislative Exchange Conference for these United States. Great honor. But in that same year, I was named Worst of the Year in Texas by Texas Monthly Magazine because my legislative agenda represented the Reagan conservative agenda that wasn't possible to pass in the state of Texas. I believe in Texas, and I believe it's a fight much larger than just oil and gas right now. It's about the freedom for our children in the years ahead. It's what's keeping us from being California. And that's the right to control what we have. I have the experience of serving through sunset of oil and gas in the committees. I've been to the fields. I know what the regulation is. And believe me, respectfully, I don't believe we need really in the office right now as much expertise in how you drill the oil or how you apply the law. But we need defense from a president that has socialized our medical system, that has socialized our banking system, and is taking everything he possibly can to put one of his own on the seat on the Texas Railroad Commission to control our oil and gas and to make us California. That's the battle we face. And I'm scared to death as an old guy that's been there for a decade and a half fighting a good cause. My name is Wayne Christian, and my website is christianfortexas.com, and if you can't spell Christian, well, go to church. We have a great state. It's a state that's allowed us to do things and laugh at other things, and what scares me is we're the best there is. I can't imagine what else is happening across this nation. I can't imagine living someplace else. But I can tell you that I do understand from having come inside the government, from having fought inside the legislature, from having been the office that Congressman Barton, that Congressman DeLay, that others came to my office to fight from Washington as they tried to cut our regulations, or the EPA tried to declare this or declare that, or the Sierra Club who came worshiping the flowers more than they did the people. I've been there. And I've been successful in standing firm for what we as conservative Texans want. You can send somebody to Austin or to Washington, and it's easy to represent the big companies like Exxon and Conoco and these big companies. But what we're missing are folks that have the character, literally, to represent the little guy. The citizen, the landowner, the guy who owns the minerals, the guy, us that work. That's what we're missing in this country. They feed you steak and you drink iced tea and do whatever the big boys want. Well, I kind of messed up on that one. The big boys don't like me very much. So I'm here tonight asking for your support for the Texas Railroad Commission. My name is Wayne Christian. Again, my website is christianfortexas.com. I'd like for you to join me. I've got an uphill battle against the bigger boys with the bigger dollars. But I think we as Texans have a battle that we just don't realize we're fighting. And I hope you'll join me. Thank you very much. I want to apologize for leaving a little early. I've got another thing to head to. I'll leave some information there. But thank you for allowing me to be here. And thank you so much for allowing me to serve the good state of Texas. God bless you.